I'm going to show if you had a chair and blankets, what you could do. I'll show the simple, well, maybe I'll show the complex one first, and then the simple one is if you had a bolster, like I have, just going to show them on the blankets. You can slide back and you've got the shoulders on the floor and then the feet up on the chair. And then the simplest thing to do, which is different, is you can make a blanket, fold it narrower just so it's like on your spine, and just lay back with the head on the spine, on the blanket too, or you can fold the edge of it so that you have this thing along the back of your spine. And if you want active feet and legs, you can press the feet, or you can just have them in Shavasana. So that's what, 3 or 4 different ways to do something. It's just, I remembered this the other day, and the nice, I just washed my blanket, the white one. The nice thing about doing this with the legs, feet up, and you can use a bench or a chair, is you get a little chest opener, but then you also get feet up the wall, and you can also focus on the integration in your abdominal area where the lower ribs and the top of the pelvis are, and just let the belly button sink down to the bolster or the blanket. So that's what's nice about starting like that. We used to do that in the gym with the feet up the wall, and I can't remember, we probably used blocks. But the thing that's really nice about this pose, which I think could be created with this is what it looks like with the bolster, but it can be created with whatever you got at home, is that I can slide my shoulders back and have a nice feet up the wall, but you know, create space in my back of my shoulders. And it's just a slight inversion to start with. And it's also about integrating the abdominals there, feeling how they integrate in a soft way, so that if we do poses that are more challenging, when we're challenging our abdominals, then we can try to remember how they organize, how the lower rib cage rests above the hip, you know, not the thigh sockets, the tops of the hip bones here, those 2 protruding bones, because you don't want to be like doing abdominal work where you throw those ribs forward and arch that back, because then you lose that support through the abdominal area. So we'll do a little bit of breathing here, whatever pose you went into. Yeah, like if your feet are up, you can just really let the front of the forehead just soften, and the breath just becomes smooth. See if you can imagine that you're ironing out the breath, that it's just smoothing out. And if you feel like as you're breathing that there's a part in the rib cage or the armpits that aren't breathing, see if you can bring your attention there. Just let the breath fill in all those spaces. There might be space in the side ribs that You're noticing there might be space in the back body, in the back ribs. And also deep down in the pelvis. See if you can feel the breath filling the pelvic region as well. See if you begin to find space between the thoughts. And then trying to carry this state into your practice, even when poses might become challenging. So, whichever pose you went into, take whatever props away that you used. If you didn't use any props, you don't have to do too much. And then just bring the feet towards the sit bones and have the knees bent and their hip width, and then there's fold into the thigh socket. And then if you want to place the hands next to you or underneath your head or overhead, you can do that. For me, I like to start with them under my head, but everybody's different and in a different place. So inhale the knees to the chest, press up through the heels, exhale, bend the knees to the chest, feet on the floor. Inhale, really press through those heels. Exhale, bend the knees down. Of course, if you can't bring the legs to 90 degrees, you can be a little bit lower. But as you press through the heels, you're really opening the backs of the legs, getting a little more stretch, waking up the backs of the legs. And then trying to keep the breath flowing so that you don't hold the breath anywhere here. And then if you want to change the arm position because you want a little more intensity, you can inhale the arms long overhead, or you can even hold the elbows and get a stretch through the armpits, down the shoulder blades. You want to make sure you change elbow crossing. So you try to want to bring evenness to your practice. And for me, it's hard for me to count, so I just try to trust that we're holding things more or less evenly. And then do 2 more in whatever way you're going. And then just bring the feet on the floor, release the arms. And again, you can press the feet up and just shake out the pelvis if you're feeling any tension. And then we'll do a little bit of Gurudasana on the floor, so that's eagle pose. So I'm going to take that right leg and wrap it around the left. Now for me, it's easier to do this lying down than standing, but you can extend the left leg to get the right foot there. If it doesn't work, you can just play with pressing the knees together if you can't wrap the foot around. So I've got the right leg over the left, then I bring the right elbow under the left, and then I bring the knees and the elbows towards each other. Then when I come down, I can really extend the arms overhead on the inhale, and then exhale, knees and elbows towards each other. Exhale, inhale. Exhale down, stretch the arms. Inhale, bring the knees and the elbows towards each other. Exhale down, stretching the arms overhead. And Richard, if you need to keep the elbows like this, you can do it like this if the arms don't come up here. So you can play around with how the arms maybe can only be here, and eventually maybe they can come here, you know, and not be in the fold. And then release that side and change sides. So this time I'll bring the left leg up, and I find if I slide my right leg down, it's easier for me to hook the foot. And then I slide it back up. Then I bring the left elbow under the right. Now again, if you need to stay here for your shoulders, you can. Or you can even just, it's like in a cross, or if you can get your hands, you can. So there's many ways to try to modify it. And then we'll inhale the knees towards the elbows towards the knees. And then when you lay back down, you just stretch those arms and then bring them together. Exhale, stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring knees and elbows towards each other. Exhale. And then release the arms and the legs. And then roll over and come down on your mat and just bring the elbows together. And you've got the hands, and this is when the lower body doesn't go on holiday. You're still engaging the legs. You start to walk the elbows forward. If you're on the floor, they might be able to slide. They certainly don't like to slide on carpet. At least with the yoga mat, you can kind of inch them forward and then bring the head down and have that little stretch. If I was there, I'd be pressing your shoulder blades down, giving a little tug in your elbows. And then release that and come up and put the forearms on the floor. Now, if you have a hard time putting the forearms and the hands on the floor, you can also just put them on the sides of the arms. If you have a block, you can use the block to hold you there. We're going to come into half plank and do a little bit of abdominal work there. So if you just have the hands on the floor, you're going to extend through the feet, trying not to drop the pelvis down and try not to lift it up too high. And then we're going to inhale the right knee in and exhale it long. And then inhale the right knee out to the right elbow. Exhale it long. And then inhale it to the opposite elbow. Exhale it long. And then inhale it to the elbow. Exhale long. And then again, come down. Walk the elbows forward. Stretching out the shoulders, or taking a few sort of recovery breaths, even though you're still working the legs here. And then slowly come up. And again, however, I'll do it a different way just to give you the modification. You can either have the hands and the forearms on the floor, or the block's really useful. Put your hands on the side of, come into half plank, and we need to do the other leg. So I did the right leg first, I'm going to do the left leg. Inhale the knee in, exhale long, Inhale it out towards the same elbow. Inhale, exhale long. Inhale it across to the other elbow. Exhale long. And then inhale it towards the elbow. Exhale long. And then again, inhale, coming down, walking the elbows forward, stretching out through the armpits. And then inhale, slowly come up. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. You're in all fours. I know they call it tabletop sometimes. We're going to go into full plank, one leg at a time, and do that same pose. So take the right leg long behind you, tuck the toes under, then take the left leg long behind you, tuck the toes. We'll start on the right leg again. Inhale towards the elbow, extend it back. Inhale to the outer elbow, exhale back. Cross it over to the opposite elbow, in back. Inhale it back to the elbow, exhale back. And this time, bring the knees down and go into big toes together, knees wide. Now, those of you who want more intensity, of course, you can do a lot of reps, and you can also hold it longer if you want. This is just basic for that now. And then inhale, coming back up to all fours. Extend, we'll do the opposite leg. Extend the left leg long first, tucking the toes under, right leg to meet it. And this time, inhale, left knee forward, exhale back. It's good to flex the foot in there too. Now bring it out to the left elbow, exhale back. Inhale it across, exhale back. Inhale forward again, exhale back, and then big toes together. Knees wide, couple of breaths there. And then again, inhale, coming up to all fours. And then tuck the toes under for just a downward facing dog. You can shake out the head and the neck if you're feeling a little bit of tension there. And walk the feet towards the hands. You can bend it or keep them straight depending on how open your hamstrings are. And then either keep the legs bent and roll up, or if you want to, you can hold the elbows and come up to standing. And then release the arms down and come to the front of your mat. I can feel my heart rate already going up. So we're gonna play around with bringing a knee up and coming into standing poses. So we'll stand in Tadasana with the feet hip width. And then inhale the left leg up. I'm doing the left leg so I can open up to you from here. And then bring that foot long behind you, and you're into the warrior lunge pose here. And then you can inhale the arms up and extend through that back leg. And then bring the hands down first. See if you can bring that foot forward, flex the legs, sort of like we were doing before. And then bring that foot back down. And then inhale the left leg up. And then extend through the back, bring that leg through so the tops of the toes tuck under, come into warrior lunge, and then you can inhale those arms up, giving that length up through the thumb and the pinky finger. And then exhale the arms down, bring the back foot in, flex it up, and bring it down. A couple of breaths there. And then inhale the left leg up, and then extend it through until you put the heel down and the toes are turned in. And come into warrior two pose. And just let those arms float up. And then if you're feeling up to it first, look over the back hand. And then you can come through, keeping the chin level, look to the front hand. Release the arms. And then start to inch that back leg in. So you bend the knee up, bring it down, and then inhale the right leg up, and extend it long behind you so you bring the heel down, bend through the front leg, inhale the arms up, look over the back hand to keep that lift through the back arm, then coming around, look over the front hand. And release the arms down as you pivot around to inch the back leg in, to lift it up, and then bring it down. A couple of breaths in Tadasana. And inhale, left leg up. Take it long behind you, pivoting so the toes turn in, the foot's out. Then bring the right forearm to the left thigh. You can leave the other arm down. Bring it straight up or up and over. Feeling that stretch all the way from the left foot to the left fingertips. And then release the arm. Pivot the torso around, bringing the back foot in and flexing it up and bringing it down. Then inhale the right leg up and extend the right leg long behind you so you bring that heel down, toes are turned forward, and as you bend the front leg, you put the left forearm on the thigh, and then the right hand can stay down, come up or up and over. Then release the arm, turning the torso back over the leg, bring the back leg in, flex it up, bring it down. Now here comes the fun part, what we've been working towards. So bring the left leg up, and I think it's easier if we inhale the arms up here. Now see if you can keep extending through the arms and extending through the heel, toes pointed down, to come into warrior three pose. You may not be able to stay here very long. I'm kind of lucky I have a chair here if I needed to reach for it. And then you slowly bring that leg up as you extend through the fingertips and bring that foot down, and then the arms come down. So it might be a little challenging, but it's also kind of fun. And sometimes you might surprise yourself because you might be able to do it that way. So now bring that right leg up. Inhale the arms overhead. Feel that extension. And then slowly come forward as you extend through the back heel, toes pointed down. Warrior 3 position. Virabhadrasana 3. And then you can slowly bring the leg up, foot down, arms down. And since we've done all that flexion, or that bringing the leg up, see if you can come into tree pose, where you start to bend that left leg up. So you've got it forward, and then open it slightly so you can put the foot wherever it lands. If it lands on the inner knee, bring it down a little bit lower. And then just bring the hands into prayer. And if you feel, you can bring them overhead. Extend through the hands. Bring the hands down. Pivot that leg in. And then bring it down. And then we'll stand on the left foot. Flex the right knee up. Then turn it out. And see if you can find the foot onto the inner thigh or onto the calf, because you don't want to be pressing in the inner knee. And then the hands come into prayer. And if you feel all right in the balance, you can extend through the fingertips. And then bring it down. And the foot down. And if you've got your blanket, block, belt, anything, you can have it next to you. I always like my little cushions too. We're kind of working towards a bird pose, but do the best you can. So you can have a block to put your heels on. You can fold up a blanket to put your heels on. You can use a cushion. Cushion's kind of soft, but you know, the block might feel too high, you know, so, and if you've got a belt, that's useful. So anyway, we're going to come into wherever the heels can come down. Now you're really trying to have enough space so you can really press through the ball of the feet, because we're first just going to go into, I think it's Malasana. And we're trying to really engage the shins. It might be hard to feel that way. That's why sometimes with something under the heels that can really give you some pressure helps. And then we're just going to bring the arms in front and try to press the knees into the shoulders or the upper arms. So just staying here to try to get a little bit of that rounded spine that you need to have your guts to do this pose. And then of course, if you want to go a little deeper, you can bring the hands back. I can't really bring them on top of my back, but some people can. I can hold my ankles, but I'm also trying to keep my feet as parallel as possible, and I can see one heel wants to go off and do something else. But anyway, this is a possibility if you can get yourself here. If not, just stay with the hands in front. You're just trying to teach the legs to connect into the arms. And then just release that. And then just, I'm sitting on my cushion here. Just bring the legs out in Dandasana just to release the backs of the legs and extend the spine for a couple of breaths. And you know, this is where if you needed more height under your heels or you needed more height to sit up to release this pose, you can do that. So what we're going to do is, what's really nice about using the block or I might use the blanket this time because it's a little more solid. I'm going to come back here like so, bringing the heels onto this. And you know, the ladies I used to teach in a gym a long time ago used to love to put a cushion in front of them in case they fell, and that's cool. And you can do, there's different ways to do these variations. You can stay here and work on pressing the knees, or you can try Balasana, or which is, I think I'm getting the names right. Anyway, you can come into crane pose by bringing one leg up and then the other, and really using your abdominals here. I haven't been practicing these, so haven't been able to stay very long, but you can play with getting in and out of it. The simpler one is crow, where you do bend the elbows, bring the legs on the outside, and then bring the feet up. So that's a little bit easier, but there is this intensity in this one where you're really trying to bring the knees up to the armpits. Now, just do what you can. You can just even stay here and just bring the hands down and just feel what this feels like. You can just stay there. Or if you want to try to bring a foot up and then the other, you can. So just, you know, go to whatever version you want to try. And then you really want to curve the spine. What really helps in this is that support through the abdominals. And then just come back and release it and sit in Dandasana to just lengthen through the legs, to lift the torso. A couple of breaths here. You can bring the fingertips on the outside. And then however you want to do Shavasana, plain old Shavasana, feet up the wall, feet on the couch. It's nice to put something under your sacrum, and whatever way that you'll be comfortable. So I know I haven't been practicing these enough, but it's good to spend some time working on those arm balances, having, you know, using that abdominal core strength, just seeing what you can do with them. It's all about playing within your range, what works for you, going to your edges, and all you can do is try. You know, this is a practice, this isn't perfect, so it's all about taking on what you'd like to practice, what you'd like to bring into your yoga practice. Maybe it's just a quality of attention you want to bring into your practice. Maybe you just want to bring in finding that deep relaxation of Shavasana. So there's so many qualities that you can bring into the practice.
And every day your body might be different, and every day there might be a different happening in your practice. You might just want to be able to focus on your breath. So just allow your breath to really soften, be quiet. See if you can imagine that your legs are like a waterfall, so that the water is pouring from the toes, down the ankle, down the front thigh, into the knee, down the large upper thigh, into that thigh socket. So see if you can feel that. If you can imagine both legs at the same time, or maybe it's easier to imagine one leg and then the other. But perhaps you can bring them together, imagining the toe water just flowing from the toes, down the ankles to the knees, down the upper thigh, into the pelvis, into the thigh socket, into the pelvis. And it just pools, so you create a bit of a pool into the pelvis. And then taking this image into your hands and your fingers, see if you can imagine they're a bit like a river, a bit like a waterfall, flowing from your fingertips down your palms, wrists, forearms, elbow, upper arms, and into the armpits. So they pool into your chest and your armpits, your upper torso. And again, you can imagine it down one arm. So maybe you can feel one arm just like a waterfall pouring into one side. And maybe you feel the other side from your fingertips all the way. And then perhaps you can feel both together as they pool into the torso. And then see if you can focus on those collarbone notches. They're softening, so a bit of water just pools into those collarbone notches. And then that water comes in and cools the throat. Back of the head. Scalp. Water flows over your forehead, your temples. And then it pools into your eye sockets and the space between the eyebrows. And then the water pools into your jaw. Into your mouth, your chin. And then slowly begin to reawaken your body, finding a little movement in your fingers, toes, hands, feet. Maybe you need to do a bit of a stretch through the body, and then you can slowly roll over and come up to sitting. Taking your time to not jerk your head up. You really want to roll up and let the head be last. And thank you, and namaste.